Hi, welcome back to 5 Minute Mark. Today I'll be recapping a thrilling movie based on true story titled The Girl in the Box in just 5 minutes. Watch out, spoilers ahead. The movie begins at night as Cameron and Janice head deep into a dark forest to secretly bury a body. Janice is racked with guilt, while Cameron coldly reassures her it was just an accident. Once the body's hidden, they quickly leave. A year later, where 20-year-old Colleen is hitchhiking to California. A passing couple offers her a ride. It's Cameron and Janice. Along the way, she explains she's surprising her friend and that nobody knows she's traveling there, which seems to intrigue Cameron. They stop for gas, and while Colleen is in the restroom, Cameron takes a strange wooden box from the trunk, placing it in the back seat. Back on the road, he suggests taking a detour. Although hesitant, Colleen agrees, lacking other options. They stop in an isolated spot and Cameron suddenly presses a knife to her throat, blinds her, handcuffs her, and shoves her back into the car, and locking her head in the wooden box. They take her to their home where Cameron strips and restrains her, violently whipping her as Janice looks on in discomfort. After chaining her to a table, he locks her head inside the box. The next morning, Janice questions his plans. Cameron says they'll dispose of her once he's bored. While he's at work, Colleen begs Janice to set her free, but Janice walks away. That night, Cameron continues to abuse Colleen while Janice tries to block the screams with headphones. Later, Janice again voices her doubts, but Cameron insists she'll be kept only as a slave. Soon after, he builds a coffin-like box, locks Colleen inside, and connects an oxygen tube to keep her alive. In the dark, she hallucinates and regrets not taking her father's advice to ride the bus. Meanwhile, her family reports her missing after her landlord notices unpaid rent. 6 months later, Janice reveals she's pregnant and urges Cameron to release Colleen for the baby's safety. But he refuses. Instead, he fabricates a story about working for a secret organization that will harm her and her family if she tries to escape. Forcing her to sign fake documents, he renames her Kay, places a collar on her, and demands she address them as Master. Terrified, she obeys. One day while cleaning, she finds a Bible, but Janice snatches it, saying she was born to suffer. When their landlord wants to inspect the furnace, Cameron panics and arranges a move. After Janice gives birth to a daughter, Amber, Colleen briefly meets the baby before being confined again. A year later, in a new home, Janice angrily punishes Colleen over a missing fork, later realizing it had simply fallen. Cameron tells Colleen about another slave who was killed for trying to flee, warning she's lucky. Eventually, he removes her collar and dresses her in regular clothes to help collect firewood. It's her first time outside in years. She asks if she can go home, but he says no. When he injures himself chopping wood, she stays to help him instead of escaping. Janice becomes jealous and confronts Cameron, accusing him of favoring Colleen. Furious, she orders him to lock her away again. 3 years pass. Colleen remains a prisoner, occasionally catching glimpses of Amber growing up. On a family trip to Lake Tahoe, she's left in the box, where a ventilation failure nearly suffocates her. She escapes but only hides in the bathroom until they return. Years later, she's treated more like part of the household. At church, Janice feels overwhelming guilt, and Colleen comforts her by holding her hand. Concern for Amber grows, and Janice starts seeing Colleen differently. Cameron then claims the company has approved a short visit home. Overjoyed, she's tested when he hands her an unloaded shotgun and orders her to pull the trigger. The next day, he drives her to her parents' home, warning her to act normal. She tells them he's her boyfriend and they've lived together for years, but her sister grows suspicious after noticing inconsistencies. Back home, Cameron proposes marriage, which Janice overhears. Deciding she's had enough, she packs up and leaves with Amber. Enraged, Cameron forces Colleen to strip and locks her in the basement. While praying at church, Janice decides to turn back to help. She returns, frees Colleen, and urges her to escape. Colleen hesitates, still fearing the fictional company, until Janice confesses it was a lie and admits they once kidnapped another woman, Marlitz, whom Cameron killed. Janice drives Colleen to a bus stop, convincing her to go. Cameron returns to find them gone, collapsing in despair. Janice testifies against Cameron in court that grants her immunity, and Colleen will always be remembered as the girl who survived 7 years in the box. Thanks so much for watching. If you like this recap, leave a like and subscribe for more 5-minute movie breakdowns. I'll see you in the next one.